Higher Education Department ready to execute Senate decision. Court grants stay order amidst eviction. And students' awareness in the Highlands and Madang.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Thursday's news. The Higher Education Department is prepared to execute the UPNG Senate's decision to indefinitely suspend Semester 1 and send students home. Her Secretary Professor David Kavanamur says students have breached the scholarship scheme. Over 2,000 students are now expected to liaise with the department to sort out their travel.
The Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar and Secretary Professor David Kavanamur made it clear this morning that the department will put into effect the suspension of Semester 1 and assist to send government-sponsored students home. This comes as the UPNG Academic Senate considered a decision to indefinitely suspend this semester after 3 weeks of boycott.
The department has taken that position simply because the contractual obligations have already been breached in terms of the TESA scholarship.
This will involve over 2,000 students who are under the TESA scheme, of whom most are first-year students. Meanwhile, Professor Kavanamur said the commencement of Semester 2 is still in question.
We have no say as to when the academic semester will be resumed, but as and when that happens, I'd like to make it very clear that you will be responsible for returning yourself back to your place of study.
For the international students, the UPNG administration is making alternate arrangements for them. However, most are confused.
Those international students, including the Pacific Island students under the government sponsorship, have had meetings with the Province academic. Yes.
And with classes suspended, Minister Tabar extended the call to NGOs, politicians and civil organizations to leave students alone.
And please lay off from the students and get students to think as young men and young women and basically reorganize themselves, prioritize their life and go back to their studies.
The decision to send students home has left UPNG students in despair over expenses they will face. Most say the return is questionable and most are concerned if Semester 2 will commence or not.
As much as possible, we are trying to be there and then talk to the first years and see what we will do after the 6th, whether to get back to class or not.
In the meantime, the Higher Education Department pointed out that continuing students need to reapply for the 2017 scholarship. However, there is no guarantee they will get a place. Jaglapava Jr. National EMTV News.
While some UPNG students have started leaving the campus, others are unable to leave. International students attending UPNG also had to vacate the campus but are unsure where to go next. Meanwhile, the UPNG Council released a circular saying the resolution of Council has created a win-win situation for parents, students and sponsors by suspending Semester 1 and not terminating the 2016 academic year.
After a month of boycotting classes, students at UPNG campus were seen moving their belongings out of the dormitories today. For students on government scholarship, they are still undecided whether to take the tickets and make their own way back when school continues. While self-sponsored students are undecided on where they will go if they are unable to make their way back to their respective provinces. Meanwhile, international students were seen loaded on a UPNG vehicle leaving the campus. EMTV followed them all the way to East Baroko. We asked them where they were going and they said that they did not know where they will be relocated. UPNG Council today put out a circular at the campus outlining reasons why the Senate had suspended Semester 1. It stated that it has been a collective effort of the School Academic Board and UPNG Senate that normalcy returned to the campus so Semester 1 could continue. It also stated that the open campus academic program were not affected, while the School of Medicine and Health Sciences has been authorized to offer its academic programs in a manner that is consistent with general controls of the suspension of 2016 Semester 1. Adelaide Sidorok Skari, National EMTV News.
The Waigani National Court has temporarily stayed the eviction of the University of Papua New Guinea students out of both the Waigani and Tauranga campuses. Presiding Judge Justice Colin McKyle ruled in the students' favour on the grounds that 48 hours eviction notice given by the UPNG Council lapses today. The decision came as a relief for most students, especially the ones from other provinces. Tekla Gunga reports.
The decision was handed down at 3:45 p.m. today by Justice McKyle. Now that is 45 minutes after the 48 hours ultimate time given by the UPNG Council for the students to vacate the campus. On May 24th, the UPNG Council suspended Semester 1 of the 2016 academic year. This came after the students boycotted classes for 4 weeks because they wanted Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step down following allegations leveled against him. This afternoon, the UPNG SRC filed 2 urgent applications at the Waigani National Court. The first to stay the eviction of students and the second to seek leave for a judicial review on the deployment of over 400 police personnel to UPNG.
Stayed the second decision, which is the decision to evict the student within 48 hours. And
UPNG SRC lawyer Lanken Aigilo submitted that the students had behaved well during the 4 weeks of boycott and there was no need for such a huge police presence at UPNG. However, Justice McKyle refused that application, stating that though the students had behaved well during the boycott, the possibility of things going out of hand cannot be ruled out. Thus, Justice McKyle said police presence will remain until further directions from the court.
His Honour, in his wisdom, decided that the argument on the leave application, he set it aside for a later argument because the Solicitor General said that she was disadvantaged because she was short-served.
For the other party, the lawyers representing the state, they argued that they were short-served and had no instructions to respond to these submissions. When the case returns to court next Wednesday, lawyers representing both parties will be making submissions on the application for leave. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Over the past 2 days, students from the University of Technology in Lae have travelled to the Highlands and Madang to carry out awareness meetings to educate people about the state of the economy and the reason why they want the Prime Minister to step aside. Eastern Highlands students left on Monday for Goroka, where they also delivered invitations to all 8 MPs to attend a forum in Lae tomorrow.
Just after midday on Monday, a convoy of buses carrying over 100 students departed Lae for Goroka. This is one of several student contingents that travelled out this week to the Eastern Highlands, Western Highlands, Enga and Madang. Student leader Livingstone Fontenu, who led the Eastern Highlands group to Goroka, says the purpose of the awareness is to make people understand the state of the economy and for them to understand the reasons for them calling on the PM to protect the Prime Minister's office.
We are talking about protecting, preserving integrity of the office here, the Prime Minister's office.
Unitec presented a petition to the Housing Minister 2 weeks ago. A day before, more than 2,000 of them voted for a boycott. Over the last 4 days, students have been in Goroka, Enga, the Western Highlands. Today, Facebook updates were posted from Henganofi, the political stronghold of Police Minister Robert Atiafa.
You must be aware that this now stands Lomipla in our letter is kind of like a warning to you. It's kind of like a warning to ask you to come out to show that you are serving the interest of the people.
We have a parliament sitting coming up. Make a stand. If it means you move to the middle bench for the interest of the country and the people, do so.
Despite the pressure, the Prime Minister has remained unmoved. Speaking on Talkback Radio yesterday, he maintains that students should return to class and if they want political change, to wait for the 2017 elections. Scott White, National EMTV News, Lae.
Enga police have contained a riot in Wabeg town involving university students after the provincial police commander, George Kakas, turned down their request for an awareness on national issues. A store was stoned and police vehicles were also pelted during the riot. Kakas condemned the riot and says Enga police resources are stretched to the limit as they work to contain ongoing tribal fights in the province, and this riot adds to their problems. Meanwhile, more than 100 students from the University of Technology conducted their awareness drive in Mount Hagen today. The Western Highlands students have been in the province since Tuesday, carrying out awareness on the country's state of economic and constitutional crisis. Fellow students from the UPNG are also in the province carrying out awareness.
Hundreds gathered in Mount Hagen City today to listen to the university students. Public servants, students and the general public turned out in numbers, all eager to listen to the students. More than 100 students from the University of Technology were in the province since Tuesday, carrying out awareness on why they have been telling the Prime Minister to step down. They say they are not satisfied with the responses provided by the Prime Minister and still want the PM to step down.
Students, you Mr. Brown, come. We sacrifice our education. Mr. Bamigo Fanile, me Fanile now. Bamigo Manino. Why we just sacrifice education and make up.
The students blamed the media for not telling truth when reporting on this issue and claimed the media was biased in its reporting.
As limit, you be all students. You be trying best to raise your voice with me. Since I'm cannot reach him down. All vast majority of the population will manage to come here. You be speaking. It will go towards everyone going on the situation, I'm going to bias or information will be on the person, right? That's why you are here. And what we are here, we will tell you the fact. And on 2% come up the country will be now.
The awareness carried out two messages, one on constitutional crisis, while others spoke about the economic crisis.
Be led and helped by the Prime Minister himself. If the Prime Minister is trying to go above the law, then the parliamentarians, the members who are under the hands of the Prime Minister, they will try to go above the law, and then that chain of reaction will come even to the grassroots level, where law will be, there will be lawlessness society.
And the students said these are the main reasons behind them sacrificing their education. The awareness drive started yesterday with visiting all high and secondary schools in the province and ended today with a public awareness. The students traveled back to the university campus this afternoon, where they joined the rest of the student body who is into their 5th week of boycotting classes. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
On to some good news. It was graduation day today for the Institute of Banking and Business Management, or IBBM. The institution hosted its inaugural Master of Business Administration with 10 pioneer graduates and a total of 144 graduates in other courses at the 62nd graduation. The 2-year MBA program is delivered in partnership with Australia's Chifley Business School at Torrens University.
Keeping its long-time commitment to strengthening the financial sectors in the country, the Institute of Banking and Business Management hosted its 62nd graduation ceremony. The ceremony this morning was witnessed by more than 100 attendees, amongst them Governor for the Central Bank and Chairman of the IBBM Board, Loy Bakani, as well as heads of the 3 major commercial banks in the country, Robin Fleming representing Bank South Pacific, Mark Baker for ANZ Bank, and Jeff Toon from Westpac. Certificate and awards presentations were handed to graduates of the Australian Diploma in Management, the Australian Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment, Certificate 4 in Frontline Management Programs, and most notably to the graduates from the inaugural Masters in Business Administration. The MBA program, which is delivered in partnership with Chifley Business School, Torrens University, Australia, is a 2-year program taught on the IBBM campus in Konedobu.
this is something where we bring programs of international standards. Say, not everybody can go to Australia and get a qualification, and we bring, and us being a higher education institute, we have developed those partnerships with the reputed universities. So we bring those programs into the country, and we help the people of PNG take those qualifications at the same level of standard as they would get it in an overseas program. We also do a lot of PNG diploma in banking, and this year we also do a PNG diploma in economics, which is under the institute, under the Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. So they're also equally reputed and qualified programs. So this venue or this facility or this campus in Port Moresby, and above all this team of 40 dedicated professionals that we have at IBPM, it encourages every Papua New Guinean to upskill themselves, to take more qualification related programs so that they can be much effective, much efficient in their workplace and gain a higher position, a higher role within the organizations, or maybe get a new employment.
Amongst the MBA graduates was Minister for Environment and Conservation John Pundari, who gave a heartfelt acceptance speech on behalf of his graduating class. Correspondingly, honorary awards were awarded during the ceremony, and Governor Loy Bakani was awarded the Honorary Life Member for his distinguished support and contribution to the Institute. The graduation also coincided with the opening of its new state-of-the-art auditorium. Now, this auditorium can sit up to 250 people at any given event and is equipped with modern equipment, sound system, and facilities. The auditorium was officially opened by Central Bank Governor Loy Bakani and witnessed by Mr. Andrew Berry, Managing Director of ExxonMobil PNG. Leanne Jarari, National MTV News.
We'll have the Students' Awareness in Madang and the day's other stories when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Mamase students of UPNG and Lays Unitec are also in Madang, carrying out awareness on the issues they've been protesting about lately. The students' awareness attracted the public to the Bates Oval in town, where the awareness was staged. They were later joined by several Madang MPs as well as other prominent figures. Rachel Shise reports from Madang.
These students who travelled in from Lae and Port Moresby from the University of Papua New Guinea and Unitec carried out an awareness in the centre of Madang town, which attracted a crowd from the public. Dressed in black with their provincial flags, the students explained their cause to the public in an awareness as to why the Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, should step down from office and let investigations on allegations against him take their full course.
I'm need long step down now. Content by proving myself I'm innocent or I'm guilty. I'm worried.
The students explained the 5 national goals and directive principles in a bid to explain to the public why they believe the country's constitution is not being followed. The Madang MP, Nixon Duban, was among the crowd.
Fundamental or foundation or us. The constitution they meet mama law Papua New Guinea and based on tablongan.
This led to the students explaining the possible effects of the country's current state of economy.
It's just like founding fathers of this nation law receive economy of country to this level now, and just like 4 years for 1% will destroy economy of the country.
The students have already missed 1 month of school. Their awareness was staged with the permission of the Madang authorities.
Thank you, go line authorities from Madang. All kim to correct lo blakam na. Sana po sem front Cleveland na totok, especially PVC from Madang. Superintendent Jacob Singura, Provincial Administrator Mr. Daniel Aloy.
Rachel Shise, National MTV News, Madang.
Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar says the current university administration at the University of Natural Resources, Science and Technology in East New Britain will not be removed. Minister Tabar said investigations into the previous administration is pending and is also a police matter. He called on students to return to class and complete their studies.
That is outside of their jurisdiction to ask for the council to be removed. They should just go on and be students, please. This is the same council that is going to stand in court and defend those allegations in court. The papers have been given to the fraud squad.
The case against Justice Sir Bernard Sakora is set for ruling on June the 7th at the Waigani Committal Court. Sir Bernard was arrested and charged for official corruption on April the 11th. His lawyer Loani Henau is pushing for the case to be dismissed, maintaining that Sir Bernard is a constitutional and judicial holder. Mr. Henau told Magistrate John Kaumi in his submission that there are jurisdiction issues to be raised in the prosecution of Sir Bernard.
The court is still waiting for directions from the public prosecution in order to respond and proceed with the case. Sir Bernard's submission on May 9 showed that there was no direction from the public prosecutor to prosecute Sir Bernard. However, the informant from the fraud office commenced without jurisdiction. The court was told that the directions from the public prosecutor to prosecute the case came after the arrest of Sir Bernard on April 11. A warrant of arrest was obtained at the Waigani District Court on April 7, and Sir Bernard was arrested and charged on the 11th and appeared in court on April 13. Henau also told the court that even if there was a direction from the public prosecutor, the charge against Sir Bernard and the warrant of arrest issued was in bad law, as it was not signed by a magistrate. Sir Bernard was charged for official corruption in April. The Committal Court on June 7 will decide whether the matter will go to the higher courts or be dismissed. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Sine Yongomul MP Kerenga Kua has joined the opposition. In a news conference this afternoon, he said the current government is not handling issues of public concern with wisdom and the actions of the Prime Minister will not benefit the country in the long run. Meanwhile, Don Polye has been reappointed as opposition leader after he stood down on May the 3rd. Polye commended the leadership of Sam Basil as opposition leader in the past 2 weeks and says the opposition is now ready to face the government in the next week's parliament sitting.
I believe that this government has not been able to bring wisdom, make proper judgmental calls. In critical instances when wisdom is required, a proper judgmental call is required, none of them have been demonstrated.
The question is, what is the objective or the mission of the opposition? It's very simple. We serve the interest of the 10 million people of Papua New Guinea. We like to see a future that is sustainable economically in the lives of our children. We like to see the rule of law and the compliance to the Constitution must become the culture of our country. And we stand on these values and we continue to pursue them.
Preparations for the security operations for the Asia Caribbean Pacific meeting is underway at Bomana Police Training College. It began on Monday and will involve over 50 police and correctional officers. These officers will escort the international delegations to various venues in Port Moresby for the various meetings. Over 50 vehicles have been hired to transport the delegates. This joint operation is also a preparation towards the 2018 APEC summit. Delegates from the 79 ACP member countries will meet in Port Moresby next week from Monday, May the 30th to Wednesday, June the 1st. Amongst the members are 15 countries from the Pacific region, including Papua New Guinea. Leanne Gerari reports.
The summit will allow the ACP heads of state to discuss recent key international developments, including Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals, issues of migration, climate change, and the fight against terrorism.
Many countries that are coming into PNG are coming for the first time. A lot of heads of government and, of course, heads of state who are going to visit us from the 31st of May to the 2nd of June. It's a great responsibility for Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea had to step in because one of the hosts in Africa was not able to host the meeting, and PNG was requested as the biggest country in the Pacific and leading economy in the Pacific to host this meeting so that we can be able to also share some of the development challenges that Papua New Guinea has.
Chaired by Prime Minister O'Neill, the summit's theme is repositioning the ACP group to address the challenges of sustainable development. The leaders will focus on three main areas, including equitable and sustainable development for ACP peoples, enhancing the role of the ACP group in global governance for development, and peace, security, and political stability as a prerequisite for development.
This particular meeting is to address common challenges, and more particularly on the issue of our responsibility and relationship with the global community, particularly the developed countries.
The discussion will also take into consideration the future of the ACP group as a strengthened, cohesive force, advocating the interest of its member states in the international arena. The ACP group of states is an organization created by the Georgetown Agreement in 1975. It is composed of 79 African, Caribbean, and Pacific states, with all of them except Cuba signatories to the Cotonou Agreement, which binds them to the European Union.
We value the relationship that we have with the European Union. The Cotonou Agreement needs to be reviewed, and part of the process and the meetings that are going to be held here are going to address those issues. European Union has become a very important partner in the development agendas of many of these countries across Africa, Caribbean, and of course in the Pacific.
Cooperation amongst its members has gone beyond development cooperation with the European Union and covers a variety of fields spanning from trade, economics, culture, and politics in diverse international forums such as the World Trade Organization. I'm Leanne Jarari reporting for National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has urged Papua New Guineans to have confidence in the country's economy. He made the call yesterday when announcing PNG's attendance to the Group of Seven, or G7, meeting in Japan this week. PNG is among a small group of developing countries invited to attend. G7 is a forum of the world's most developed economies: the United States, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom. Mr. O'Neill said the meeting will provide the chance to share Papua New Guinea's experience and create new opportunities for expanding infrastructure in the country.
Just one thing I want to say to our listeners is that, have confidence in our country, have confidence in our economy. Tomorrow I'm leaving for Japan at the invitation of President Abe. The 7 biggest global economies, that is United States, China, Japan, Russia, Germany, and Italy, Great Britain, are meeting in Japan. Papua New Guinea has been invited as an observer. This is the first time for our country to be recognized like this. Global communities and economies are understanding where PNG is going. We must understand where we're going ourselves.
Meanwhile, security was at its peak in central Japan today as the meeting of the Group of Seven, or G7 summit, kicked off. Heavy police presence covered the main venue in Mie Prefecture. World leaders and host country Japan will meet for 2 days to address global challenges related to trade and government policies.
Access to places where all meetings are held is tightly restricted, even for the media. For residents living around the area, it was harder to move around normally with increased police presence. Today's program began with a visit to the famous 2,000-year-old Grand Ice Shrine, the holiest site in Japan's Shinto religion. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and host of this year's summit welcomed the leaders of member countries at the Unji Bridge before they entered the compound. The leaders are later expected to attend 3 sessions of meetings discussing issues including terrorism, refugees, trade, cybersecurity, and maritime security. Leaders are also expected to promote a combination of monetary, fiscal, and structural policies to enhance growth in their respective countries. Group of 7 countries include the United States, Britain, Japan, Germany, Italy, Canada, and France. The chief of the International Monetary Fund and European Commission have also joined the two-day meeting. Melissa Gaviro, EMTV World News.
Back home, Governor General Grand Chief Sir Michael Ogier today executed, on behalf of the state, the transfer of Kumul Petroleum Trust deed to Kumul Petroleum Share Trust. There to sign the instruments on behalf of the company this morning were Kumul Petroleum Holdings Deputy Chairman Larry Andagali, General Manager Ian Maru, and Legal Manager and Company Secretary Rogan Wato. Today's signing concludes the Kumul legislation process.
Arrangements are now in place to establish the Kumul Petroleum Share Trust. The establishment of the Kumul Petroleum Share Trust is pursuant to the Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited Authorization Act of 2015 for the transfer of all issued shares in Kumul Petroleum Holdings to the Kumul Petroleum Trustee, of which the person holding the office of the Prime Minister is trustee. The execution of the trust deeds between the state as settler and beneficiary, the Prime Minister as trustee, and Kumul Petroleum Holdings marks the final registration process of the trust deeds. The trust deeds now vests all trust property under the responsibility of the Kumul Petroleum Share Trust, including shares, dividends, all money and property paid or transferred to the trust. Amongst the list of responsibilities, the Kumul Petroleum Share Trust is now also responsible for the accumulation of income directed or empowered by this deed and all other rights, benefits, privileges in the company held by the trustee. Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3085 US, $0.4262 Australian dollars, $0.2735 euro, and 33.74 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed higher, coffee and cocoa closed lower, while copra closed the day unchanged. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 145.46 points higher, the ASX closed at 14.79 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 14.62 points higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Former Education Secretary Dr. Michael Tapo appeared for his second mention today at the Waigani Committal Court. He was charged for 25 counts of official corruption, abuse of office and dishonestly applied. Presiding Magistrate Cosmas Bidar told Dr. Tapo that these are just allegations and adjourned it to June 27th to give enough time for police investigations. Bidar said that it is a common practice in PNG where police make arrests first and then look for evidence. The PNG Health Support Workers Association is on the verge of going on strike nationwide if the Department of Personnel Management continues not to recognize them as a registered association. The association's General Secretary Jack Suau said the association is giving 21 days to Personnel Management Secretary John Kali to respond before further action is taken.
Last year, the health support workers lodged 11 claims to the Personnel Management Department to recognize them as an association so that members can benefit from services that other unions are receiving. However, the department did not recognize them despite being registered under the Industrial Registrar.
I'm now calling on the Department of Personnel to exercise this, and I will be given a 21 days notice before the strike will take place. And the strike will commence from the headquarters. We will be shutting down the headquarters, the Port Moresby General Hospital, the Laroke, and then the nationwide. As it goes, the failure of the implementing or respond to this log of claims since September last year.
The two important claims are to have an increase in the housing allowance and their backdated pay of 5 years must be paid.
Group of health support workers in the health unions that have not been looked at over the last 40 years, especially our working terms and conditions. Remember, we contribute to the total service delivery. Without us, there will not be any health service delivery right down to the provinces and health centers.
PNG health support workers are also known as the non-clinicians, who are employed by the hospitals, provincial health authorities, and rural health services. They also play an important part in assisting the clinicians in providing healthcare services for the country. They currently have 3,000 plus registered members in 13 provinces. Pasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Lae Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says the increasing number of vehicles in the city is the cause of rising instances of traffic accidents and offences. Most traffic accidents are from drink driving. Lae traffic police are understaffed with no traffic vehicle to effectively police city roads. The only traffic car they have is not roadworthy.
The rise in the number of vehicles on Lae roads have come with a corresponding increase in the number of accidents. The increase in the number of deadly accidents in the city is now a concern for authorities and police. 3 weeks ago, an accident along the Salamander Road where a young teenager from Isipik was killed instantly. The driver was drunk and was driving at high speed. He bumped into a bus and lost control of the vehicle and it spun to the opposite side of the road. The vehicle hit the young man and a girl.
So la boyem dai na tupla man inside lokar tuem tuplak.
Apart from the traffic police, there are two other agencies that deal with land transport. The Land Transport Board, which comes under the Morobe Provincial Administration, and the Road Safety Council, which is a national function. To deal with this problem, Lae Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi said he had written a letter to the other two authorities for a meeting. The meeting is to find a way for them to work in partnership in order to ensure road safety for users. Lae Police and the National Road Safety Authority will start a combined traffic operation next Monday. They will be setting up random roadblocks and effect the clearing of congested bus stops and to see the impounding of unroadworthy vehicles. They will also be targeting drink driving as well as dangerous and careless drivers. Another serious issue are the congested PMV bus stops and the general negligence of PMV drivers to comply with basic traffic rules. Wagambi said careless driving caused loss of life, damage to other vehicles and properties, and tough action will be taken following this operation to ensure the roads are safe for users. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lae.
Papua New Guinea's florist Mary Sound today showcased her knowledge and skills at the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts in Guam. Sessions were conducted for the general public on how to grow plants and the purpose of arranging them. Fabian Hakalitz reports from Guam.
Florist Mary Sound raised Papua New Guinea's flag up high today when she conducted sessions on quality control of plants. Sessions were based on ways to grow flowers and the purpose of arranging that caught the visitors' attention to the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts. Vita Roberto told MTV News that she has learned many things from Papua New Guinea's florist that signals Guam to start a local floriculture society.
That's very rare because then we have to import them. And when you import them, it's very expensive. So what I've learned from watching Mary is I learned that that pot that we have there is a seedling pot. And we just throw those things away. The kids play with it, they play sword and all that. And And looking at it, you know, she put it together with a couple of twine. And she made a vase, and then she took tea leaves and she bent it, and it's just awesome.
According to Mary, there is a lot to floriculture in Guam that should promote and market local plants.
And they have asked me to do that, and they're very amazed and they're very thankful because they didn't know the difference. Like everyone say, you know, flowers are beautiful or wow, they're good, but not realizing that, you know, quality is not there. So after the training now, I hope, and I have said to their organization that they have to start helping the others, the flower growers, and get into like forming an association.
As a Papua New Guinean, she was very patriotic and happy to share her knowledge and skills with fellow Pacific Islanders to expand the floriculture industry.
It's a big thing for them, but yet at the same time, it's a learning for them. Because they don't have any florists, you know, amongst the group that are here, there's no florists, they're just volunteers, and they're just flower lovers and all that. But now we are hoping, as their coordinator was saying, he's hoping that it will form a group. And so they will go seriously into floriculture or into like flower farming.
Fabian Harklitz, National EMTV News, Guam.
Chukai Sports is next. Details when we come back.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. PNG's rising star and the next pocket dynamo Mea Toa won silver in the women's 48-kilogram category this morning at the Oceania Weightlifting Championships in Fiji. She lifted a total of 150 kilogram in this category, falling short to Australian lifter Erika Yamasaki, who took out gold. PNG's Morea Baru will be competing later in the 62-kilogram men's category, while Fred Oala will be competing tomorrow in the 69-kilogram division. The weightlifting championships is the final qualification for the Rio Olympics. Solomon Islands players will need the right mental attitude if they want to win the OFC Nations Cup here in PNG, according to the team's new technical advisor, Ramon Tribule. The 43-year-old Spaniard has proven recipe for success after guiding his Auckland City side to 6 OFC Champions League titles in a row. Tribule, who joined the Solomon Islands squad's training camp in Sydney last week, insists confidence is the key ingredient. The Solomon Islands team flew to Port Moresby yesterday from Brisbane after missing their flight from Sydney on Tuesday. They will open their campaign against Vanuatu this Saturday at the Sir John Guy Stadium. New Zealand All Whites coach Anthony Hudson arrived in Port Moresby yesterday with a solid squad, including 3 experienced players who took part in the FIFA World Cup in 2010. The team, which will be captained by Chris Wood, has a good blend of youth and experience.
Hudson's squad sees the return of experienced players Rory Fallon, Shane Smeltz, Michael McGlinchey, who all featured at the FIFA World Cup in 2010. The head coach, who has laid down his expectations in terms of fitness and conditioning this week to a greater all-whites training squad in Auckland, believes his side is ready to claim the OFC Nations Cup in Port Moresby. 4 players, Luke Adams, South Melbourne FC, Kip Covey, St. Josie at Quakes FC, Max Crocombi, Oxford United, and Monty Peterson, Ipswich Town FC, are in line to make the international debuts for the All Whites. Hudson said this announcement is what he and his team have been waiting for and working towards for a prolonged period. Hudson added that the aim of the team is to put New Zealand football back on the world stage, and that begins at the Nations Cup, the first competition together as a senior group. The All Whites arrived from Brisbane yesterday at Jackson's International Airport. They will face Fiji in the opening fixture of the OFC Nations Cup at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Still on football, the last team to arrive for the OFC Nations Cup is Fiji. Arriving to a much smaller crowd, the team looks prepared for their match against the New Zealand All Whites on Saturday. Their coach, Frank Farina, unfortunately was not part of the entourage due to visa issues. However, the team is expecting him tomorrow. Meanwhile, New Zealand themselves are confident of overcoming Fiji. All Whites coach Anthony Hudson has said that with the likes of captain Chris Wood, they are here to win. Their match on Saturday is a must-see event as these teams prove their worth. The match kicks off at 4 p.m. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. Coach of the SP PNG Hunters, Michael Marum, says the team is looking sharp for this weekend's clash against reigning premiers Ipswich Jets. He says there may be a possibility of halfback Watson Boas being named in this weekend's squad after receiving positive comments from the physiotherapist.
20 players on Tuesday afternoon, so at this stage we still have those 20 players. Enoch Maki has been released to go and play Diesel Cup, so with the Port Moresby Vipers. So we'll be holding on to Philemon Kimiseve and Benjamin Etra. Reports from the physio at High Performance showing that Timothy Lomai passed his fitness test on his shoulders, and also Watson, he went through a contact today, so defensive session. So we'll go back to the physio tomorrow and see him again, and then if we need to push him in, rush him into the side, we can do that. But otherwise we travel on Saturday, so we still have another day tomorrow to sort all those things out.
Trukai Sports ends on that note. I'll have the weather details after these short messages.
Sports. Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, fine for Port Moresby, mostly fine for Daru, Kerema and Alatau, and cloudy for Popondetta. In the Momasa region, shower or two for Ley and Madang, and mostly fine for Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands, fine for Lorengau and Kavieng, and mostly fine for Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, fine for Mount Hagen and mostly fine for Goroka, Mendi, Wabek and Kundiawa. And that ends the news, sports and weather for today, Thursday, the 26th of May 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.